What's going on, guys? Welcome back. This video is going to be about making the car ready. Make ready, right? So when you buy a vehicle, most of the time, if you're lucky, like I was saying, most of the time, if you're lucky, you're going to get this vehicle with minor problems, right? Not much to replace, not much to fix. So I have a live example of what I do right here in my hands and what we go through once we get these vehicles out, right? So I'm gonna get you started real quick. I'm just moving this so we can get a good angle for you. So check this out, stay tuned. All right, step number one, when you get the car, the first thing you need to do is get it cleaned up real good. Nobody likes dirty furniture, nobody likes a dirty seat, and I don't like a dirty car, right? So check it out. So here we have, for this example, we have a 2019 Dodge Challenger. All right. Now we have already ran it through the car wash. So as you can see, it looks nice and shiny. If you see a couple of things, it's just road grime that I just collected over time, right? Little road grime that gets added up. Anyways, that is first step. If you want, you can take it to a car wash or you can do the job yourself. Now, when cleaning the car, the outside of the car, you want it to be shiny. But the most important part is the inside, in my opinion. I mean, when I get in it, I'm the type of person that likes to look at the crevices and like the edges and stuff, and I don't like when I see like dried up crud or like dirty soda that's been dried up for a long time. You got to clean that up. Check it out. Of course, it is much easier to do this with a newer vehicle, right? Because people don't have enough time to collect all the grime and stuff on it. But look at all this. Check this out. See, like things like that, that needs to be cleaned, in my opinion. That needs to be cleaned. But you get my point. Overall, it looks really nice. I'm gonna show you something that doesn't look good, right? Check this out. Vehicles with a bunch of trash like this is not attractive. You gotta clean that up. Look at that, even Rillo tips. So you gotta make sure that you're very thorough. Open up the compartments, clean everything up, and if you can't clean the compartments up, it's gonna take time, but it's worth putting in that time for these cars. All right. Now that's just a quick example. So be thorough. Like I said, check everything out, clean everything out, take your time, or pay somebody to do it. That's why there's Hand Details Car Wash here, and you're gonna pay the money and make sure that it gets done correctly. All right. Clean your windows, clean your seats, carpets, dashboard. A clean car gives a really good impression. All right. And remember, you will never have a first impression. So you want to make sure that that first impression really knocks them out of the park, right? So let's move on to the next step. Step number one is make sure the car is clean, okay? Your next step is going to want to make sure that your car is fixed up with all the issues that are going to prevent it from running safely on the highway, right? So you want to make sure your brakes are in line. You want to make sure that this car is not leaking any gas or anything like that. No electrical fires, no issues like that. But also you're going to want to replace or fix the body work, right? So I'm gonna walk you through this one real quick so you can see and you can tell me if you're willing to take it the way it is or if you want to fix it, right? Check it out. I'm continuing to use the Challenger. The closer you look at it, the more little details you see. Like this is the way it was when I got it. We can try to clean this up, buff it out if possible. But if the scratches are too deep, we may have to repaint this. Keep in mind, we don't have to do that until we sell it, or we can try to do that. Sometimes the paint will not match 100%, so the mismatched paint will lower your customer's trust, right? If you follow it around, same thing. Little door dings here and there, I don't really worry too much about that. On the roof either, you can barely see it. Minor scratches, right? Nothing out of the ordinary. Here we have some more scratches in the front, check that out. But nothing I'd be concerned with. Now I'm gonna show you another one. Take this truck for example. Check this body damage right here on the side. See that body damage on the side of the truck? Now that's body damage. that thing on the Challenger, those are minor scratches. Something that we can sell the vehicle the way it is. Some customers will take it like that. Somebody who's paying the money, they're gonna want to get something brand new, you know, so we can go ahead and touch it up for them, put it in a wheel form, which I'll explain what that is later. And yeah, that's it for the body work. So that's going to be a straight ethical and moral decision for yourself. If you want to fix it, you cannot make every car brand new. Remember, as long as it looks pretty good and you would buy it, I'm pretty sure somebody else will buy it too. All right, so let's move on to the next step. When it comes to the mechanical issues, your vehicle is required to pass inspection in the state of Texas before you can sell it. And the car won't pass inspection if it has a check engine light on. So be sure to fix all the issues and all the sensors that will cause a check engine light to come on. That's why you need to have a good person that can diagnose these vehicles and make sure they work. All right, so remember, clean the car really good, make the necessary repairs that you want to or that you have to, fix the body work, do the AC, do the oil changes, do the brakes, make sure it's safe, make sure it passes inspection, make sure there are no check engine lights on. All right. Another important tip, your tires, make sure there is enough thread on your tires. These tires are good. There are ball tires and there are dry rotted tires. All right, so do your due diligence, make sure your tires are good, make sure it passes inspections and there's no check engine lights. Now let's look under the hood. Okay, this right here is gonna be an entire video on its own, and you're gonna need a lot of experience when it comes to this, but don't worry. Over time, you will get this experience because you will see these engines coming and going. All right, a couple of things you need to look out for. Step number one, you open the hood, focus on the coolant reservoir. Make sure there's enough coolant in that car. Luckily for us, this one's clear enough that we can see that the coolant reservoir is on top of that line. So that's good. Next step will be to check your oil to make sure that it's not milky and it's not contaminated, right? So for this one, it looks like we're gonna need to get, oh no, check that out. It's got really clean oil. I just gotta do the oil change on this one so we can get it up to specs, right? So check it out. We are missing, immediately I can tell you we're missing a cover here. The battery is in the trunk, so you can inspect the battery later, but you're gonna wanna check your battery, make sure it's not corroded, check your levels, make sure you have enough coolant, make sure you have enough oil. This is if you know what you're doing. And then always check your brake fluid. This one right here has a brake reservoir, and the brake reservoir is underneath this right here. But most cars, it'll be visible and you'll be able to see it. So as you can tell, this one may look like it might be a little bit low. And low fluid on the brakes indicates that there is worn brake pads, all right? Because the piston compresses more and it lowers the fluid right there. So you're gonna wanna check your brakes and make sure that's stopped off, make sure your brakes are good. It all comes to this maintenance. Now keep in mind, I just got this car. This is live, what I'm doing and what I'm checking out. On these Chryslers and Dodges, this 3.6 is notorious for having this oil cooler fail. So you always wanna make sure you look down in there. One of the biggest telltale signs of a bad oil cooler is that you will notice a huge puddle right at the very bottom. So, luckily for us, this one doesn't really have much in there and it's dry. So that's that. That's where your oil filter goes right there. And then, we visibly inspect the engine for leaks. I suggest you leave it running and you put a cardboard box or something underneath so you can check out any leaks that it may have. I'm gonna bring you down here. You gotta double check the water pump. Follow your coolant lines. You're gonna wanna follow your coolant hoses too to make sure that there's no coolant leaking. The biggest telltale sign is low fluid in the coolant, right? Then go around the motor and look for obvious leaks on the engine. As you can see, this one doesn't really have any leaks, which is another great sign of a good motor. Now, if you can see, it looks all like grayish and stuff. I'm not sure what that's caused from. That's probably oxidation building from like salty areas or whatever. So check it out. As you can see, there are no leaks underneath the engine. You can also open up your oil cap and look underneath. If you look underneath and you see gunk and stuff, most of the time they haven't done their oil changes in time. But check it out. From over here, I can't really see any leaks. So for my visual inspection, it would pass my visual inspection. I would say this is a good car. Let's rock and roll. Now, if you want to go above and beyond, be sure you replace the air filters. Air filter here. Be sure you replace the cabin air filter so it can smell really good inside the car. So let's go ahead and do a checkup. Coolant, oil, brake fluid, air intake, air filter, oil filter, cabin air filter, fuses. If your fuses are burnt, you can check right here, but we need to order a cover for the fuse box. We don't want it to get wet, especially if it's raining or if you're missing the bottom cover and you go through a large puddle and it goes all the way up. It's going to damage your fuses. All right, so let's move on to the next step. The next step is to test drive the car. After you had your shop or the car wash, or you pick it up from the car wash, you pick it up from your mechanic, you gotta test drive the car, okay? Of course, always make sure you check the AC, make sure it works. Let's go for a ride. So here we go. The biggest things you want to look out for is the idling in your car. You got to make sure it's smooth. You cannot have any bouncing up and down on the RPMs. That indicates a problem in your car. I'm going to turn this AC down for now. So as you can see, this is pretty good. You got to watch your temperature gauge. Make sure that it doesn't overheat. Overheating is a sign of low coolant or coolant leak. You got to make sure you have enough gas. Without gas, you can't really drive. Duh, right? All right, so here we go. We're going to take the Challenger for a test drive. You can drive normally. You don't have to drive crazy. Keep an eye on the RPMs and how smooth the transmission changes gears. If you're driving softly and the RPMs go all the way to like 4 or 5 and then boom, changes gears, chances are your transmission is slipping or you have a solenoid that is damaged. All right, be sure to step on it a little bit. Yeah, there you go. 60 smooth changes. Make sure that there's no shaking when you brake. If you feel shaking, chances are that you need some brake pads or you need the rotors to have to be resurfaced. So as you can see, this is a pretty good car. All we need to do is an oil change, get it cleaned up once again, and advertise it for sale. I already have some photos up. When you take photos of the car, I'm gonna walk you through what you need to do and what kind of photos you need to take, okay? Now, before I finish this video, I gotta let you know that you need to keep all your service records and all your receipts together, okay? It only increases the value of the car and it backs up everything you have done. It is easier to show someone you have proof of what you've done versus have them believe what you say, okay? People tend to believe what they see and not what they hear. So take that as my advice and check this out. This is why I'm showing you these videos, so you don't hear it from me, you see it for yourself, okay? We're gonna get back to the lot real quick and we're gonna continue this video. One important tip I did want to give you is be sure that you do run full throttle and you press it all the way up and you make sure you feel the acceleration and that the RPMs go up, because if they don't, you may have issues with your throttle body, or there may be issues with your spark plugs and it may need a tune-up, or you may have a bigger issue than what I just mentioned. All right, so these are just the basic tips that I can give you and what I do and what I go through when I get cars and how I check them out. So make sure you clean the car, make sure you get all the repairs fixed, make sure you get that body work done if you need to get body work done. Make sure that there is no check engine light so the car can pass inspection. Top off all the fluids, and yeah, let me show you what to do when it comes to taking photos. All right, when it comes to taking photos, step number one, I like to isolate the car from the rest of the other cars. Okay, so if you can't help it that there are other cars parked, that's fine. When you take the photo, just make sure that that's the only car that you see. For example, if you have the zoom option, I would step back just enough and I would zoom to the point where the car is the only thing on the screen. Bam, you take a screenshot like that. see, I myself, I like to do a walk around of the video. I mean, I'll walk around of the car. So when I step out of the driver's door, I like to start from the driver's side and take about 1, 2, 3, 4 photos, or a total of 8 photos outside, which is 1, 2, 3, and then sideways 4, 5, 6, 7 in the back, sideways 8. And then I like to open the doors and take really clear photos of the interior. That's why you gotta make sure that the car is clean. I like to take photos of each wheel. I like to get down, take a clean photo like that. Boom, I'm gonna try to put some photos that I have taken in the past of this car so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, let's get going. And this is the only thing I wanted to show you. Just keep all your records so you know exactly what you did to the car, what it needs to be done, who checked it out, etc. Make sure you keep them safe in your car. All right, after all, they belong in here, right? So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you really do get a lot of value from my channel. I'm gonna do my best to put as many videos out there as possible for free so you guys can get all this knowledge that I know. I wish somebody would have done it when I started. So here it is, repaying the favor back. You're getting all my hard-earned knowledge, and yeah, so hit that like, subscribe button, and let's rock and roll, baby. Make you rich.